Hey, this is Wolf from Armoury Terrain, and today marks July 4th, 2022. Here in Australia, during midwinter, it really doesn't mean much to us, but for my American friends and viewers, I figure I may as well do something to mark the day. Although the way it's going at the moment over there, guys, are you really sure you're doing better than, Australia and Canada, which didn't leave the empire? And, we have universal health care, unemployment that doesn't run out after 6 months and makes you homeless, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, less guns. Less guns is good, I think. So anyway, for my American 4th of July friends, this is an F-bomb. For today's project, you're going to need one plastic egg. This is just a real cheap plastic Easter egg that I've had in storage for a while. You'll also need one keyring clip, a skewer. After you've finished eating your Asian food, keep the wooden skewers, clean them, they're good for stuff. And a bit of plastic. This is just some melted down milk bottle tops that happen to be brown, and I've bent it into this shape to form this spoon of the F-bomb. The other thing that you're going to need is a keyboard. As you can see, this one's already been harvested a bit. Right, tools for today's project include one flathead screwdriver, one knife, and a glue gun. So the first thing that needs to be done is to cut a piece off your chopstick. This is just under 2 inches long, and then I've cut a notch in one end of it. The reason I've cut the notch is I'm going to be gluing this ring into there. You'll see why later. Right then, let's see if we can focus on the board. Okay, off camera, I just hot glued in this ring into the end of the chopstick. I'm now going to glue this egg together because otherwise it'll keep popping apart. And we don't want it to do that. So a little bit of hot glue here and there and over there, a bit more. Don't really care, more hot glue. Hot glue is not the best thing to do this project with. Some sort of tacky glue, or maybe even a CA glue, like super glue, would be better. But it was either make one of these or build a miniature dumpster and set it on fire. So hot glue today. Okay, while that's cooling down, with the keyboard, take your flathead screwdriver and gently prise off each key. Don't know how many you're going to need because that's entirely up to you. Now you could be saying, Wolf, that's not an F-bomb, that's a grenade. Well, only in America. Grenade is a French word. The British term is bomb, which is why in World War I and II, we had bombs and bombardiers that threw bombs at the enemies. None of these grenade things. But yes, it's going to look like a pineapple grenade from World War II. Okay, after harvesting a number of keys, it's time to glue them to your egg. Now, to make these work better, you can see the bottom of the keys, they have a raised part, which you should definitely trim down a bit. Okay, knife, let's see what you can do. Okay, after finding that my knife wasn't quite up to cutting the back out of all of these keyboard keys, I resorted to my side cutters, and they made quite a mess, but all the keys are trimmed down. Now to glue them to the egg. Now this is important. To start with, you're gluing to the bottom of the egg. And all of your keys, you want to face the same direction. You'll notice that, okay, I've got a lot of these that are different shaped keys, which is interesting because they're from different parts of the keyboard. That makes sense. So finding 4 the same, being the number lock, the 0, the 1 and the asterisk, I'm going to glue these on first. So a nice generous amount of hot glue in the back. And we're starting at the bottom, okay? The reason for this is as we glue them on, we want to form feet so it'll stand up. Because you don't want it rocking around everywhere. I can assure you of that. Now remember everybody, hot glue is hot and sticky, hence the name. So try not to burn yourself too much. So as you can see, I've got the first 2 on, and now I'm going to glue the next 2 on. Remembering to put the glue in the back of the key before putting the key onto the egg. Not that it probably makes that much difference. Let's make sure I'm partly in camera shot, for some of it anyway. Okay, so now that you've got the first 4 on, it should stand upright. And if it doesn't, tear them off and glue them on again until it does stand upright, because otherwise you're going to have no end of problems. And as you go, pull off the strings of hot glue, because they're ugly. You don't need them. Now it's just a matter of gluing the rest of the keys on. You can either glue them on staggered or you can glue them in lines. I think staggered looks better myself, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, my camera ran out of memory, so I had to go and delete a whole bunch of stuff off it. While it was out of memory, I glued that brown piece of plastic on as a spoon, and then I glued the chopstick and the keyring in on the side. What I then did was hot glued it down to this spray rod that I have, so I could spray it with grey primer. I then realised that here in Brisbane in the middle of winter, it's only 14 degrees. Hey editor, stick up Fahrenheit, would you? Yeah, and at that temperature, spray paint doesn't set properly. So there I was for 15-20 minutes with my hairdryer on low, making sure the paint set. Got to do it on low, otherwise you melt the hot glue, and that's not a good look. Okay then, so my next step is to use some teal acrylic paint and go and give it a coat all over, and then let's have a look at it and see how it looks after it's been painted teal. Okay, now that I've got this coat of teal on it, I'm quite happy with just a solid colour. You're free to paint it any way you want. You can make it look off the factory shelf like this, or you can weather it up, you know, put shiny bits on the parts which would wear worn on a soldier's harness, or make it look all rusty or whatever. But anyway, now that it's painted and dry, because I've used the hairdryer for another 20 minutes drying it, we carefully break it off the hot glue where it was stuck onto the spray piece of timber. Also have to remove this extra key that is pretty well stuck on the bottom there. But no, it needs to come off. So I'll grab my handy dandy knife and I'll just pry that key off. This is the one that I glued on so it would stick to that board while I was painting it. Now of course it doesn't want to play the game, so next step is needle nose pliers, and hopefully it'll just pull off because it's only hot glued on. Yep, just hot glued on. So most of it came off. Bit of a twist and it's gone. And all I've got to do is touch up the paint right at the bottom. So do that and then hit it with the hairdryer a bit more, and then I'm going to show you the final touch to finish off this F-bomb. It's subtle, but it's well and truly worth doing. So back to the hairdryer, and okay, so once this bomb or grenade is the color that you want it to be, in my case I just want it to be teal, grab your Sharpie or fine point marker pen and just put an F on each key. Now try and use the same font so they all look the same. And this is what makes it an F-bomb. As if you used all the F keys from a dozen keyboards or more. Now, some of this paint of mine wasn't completely set, so I'm going to have to go back and do some touch-ups because I've rushed it. Hey, don't drop it off the table. I mean, it'll probably bounce, but you don't want to drop it off the table. So here I have it. It might be a bit dark to see properly, but this is my F-bomb. As you can see, not for internal use because some people... So sorry America, this is about the best I can think of to do for your day of celebration. Maybe you should come back into the Commonwealth. Actually, no, you've got too many problems. You've got to deal with them first. So anyway, this is Wolf from Armoury Terrain with his F-bomb saying, go out and make something.